You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Today we continue to point our cameras at one of the most controversial legal battles in modern music history. Focusing on the trial and conviction of R. Kelly on charges of racketeering and trafficking. While mainstream media has painted a picture of guilt, it is crucial to step back and critically analyze the legal framework under which he was charged. The question is not whether you like or dislike R. Kelly as an artist. The question is whether the charges against him hold up under proper legal scrutiny. And when you look at the facts, it becomes clear these allegations were stretched to fit a narrative rather than built on concrete legal foundations. In order to understand the severity of this case, we must first break down the charge of racketeering. The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO, was originally designed to dismantle large-scale organized crime syndicates known as the mafias, drug cartels, and illicit enterprises that engaged in systematic criminal activities as a central purpose of their operations. RICO was not designed to prosecute an individual celebrity and his music management team for simply doing their job. So what does this mean for R. Kelly's case? The government argued that his management, security, and other personnel constituted a criminal enterprise with the common goal of recruiting and controlling young women for illicit purposes. But let's take a step back and think. What music icon, or what high-profile celebrity doesn't have an entourage he or she moves with? These people included tour managers, security personnel, assistants, and more, roles that exist in every major artist's career. The very nature of the music industry requires coordination and planning. Booking flights, scheduling events, ensuring personnel are in place. This is standard business and not a criminal enterprise structure. R. Kelly, like any other superstar, lived a private life behind closed doors. He had relationships, he traveled with people, and he had a team that facilitated his professional engagements. The fact that some individuals performed his business tasks does not automatically transform them into co-conspirators in a racketeering scheme. To criminalize R. Kelly's career structure and call it a racketeering enterprise sets a dangerous precedent. One that could be used against any successful celebrity in the future. The government's argument hinges on the notion that R. Kelly's organization was an enterprise committing continuous criminal activity. But a criminal enterprise, by legal definition, is a structured group with an illegal common purpose. Where was the evidence of this so-called illegal common purpose? Did his management team sit down and conspire to commit crimes as a unified body? Were their salaries and roles predicated on engaging in criminal conduct? Absolutely not. Using RICO in this case is not just a legal overreach. It is a manipulation of the justice system. This law was designed to take down mob bosses who ordered crimes while distancing themselves from the actual illegal acts. But in R. Kelly's case, the government took isolated allegations and strung them together to create an illusion of organized crime. There was no underground network of criminals working together for an illicit purpose. What existed was a successful artist and the professionals who helped maintain his career. Nothing sinister. Now let's talk about the charge of trafficking. This term immediately evokes images of forced movement, coercion, and criminal transportation of victims with a purpose of committing crimes at the destinations. Yet when you examine the evidence presented, it does not fit this definition. There was no evidence that R. Kelly forced anyone to travel, no proof that he kidnapped, abducted, or coerced individuals into going anywhere against their will. When a celebrity books travel accommodations for their entourage, whether dancers, musicians, assistants, or even personal guests, does this suddenly amount to trafficking? If so, every artist who flies in a romantic partner, a friend, or even a fan could now be accused of the same crime. If there was genuine human trafficking involved, where were the authorities in those moments? Where were the airport records showing forced travel? Where were the missing persons reports? In reality, the prosecution twisted the definition of trafficking to fit their case. They argued that because R. Kelly facilitated travel for women, some of whom later made allegations against him, this amounted to trafficking. This logic is both flawed and dangerous. It removes the responsibility of adults who willingly engaged in these arrangements and retroactively criminalizes standard celebrity lifestyle practices. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of this case is how guilt was assumed from the start. The government approached this trial not as a fair inquiry into alleged crimes but as a mission to convict a man who had already been condemned in the court of public opinion. The presumption of innocence was completely ignored. The legal system requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt, yet much of the prosecution's case was built on emotional testimony rather than verifiable evidence of an illegal enterprise. If there were truly an organized criminal operation, where were the financial records proving a structured system of illegal activity? Where were the secret recordings, the coded messages, the logistical infrastructure that a real trafficking or racketeering operation would require? None of this was provided because it simply did not exist. What this case truly represents is an alarming precedent. If the government can take a celebrity's professional team and retroactively label it a criminal enterprise, and use legally flexible definitions of trafficking to build a case, then no high-profile artist is safe. In fact, no one is safe. Today it's R. Kelly, tomorrow it could be any public figure who has an entourage, who travels with company, or who simply engages in relationships that later turn sour. We should all be concerned about the weaponization of the legal system to selectively target individuals based on public perception rather than solid legal grounds. The justice system should not operate on feelings and assumptions. It must operate on facts and due process. At the heart of this discussion is a fundamental principle. Justice must be blind, fair and based on the rule of law. The use of RICO and trafficking charges against R. Kelly was not about enforcing justice, but about securing a conviction at any cost. The flaws in this case are glaring, and anyone who takes the time to understand the legal definitions at play can see how the charges were manipulated to fit a predetermined outcome. Whether you support or oppose R. Kelly personally, the real issue here is whether we allow the justice system to stretch laws beyond their intended purpose. If we do, we risk opening the door for future cases where individuals are prosecuted not for actual crimes but for narratives crafted against them. And that, my friends, is a dangerous path for any society that values true justice. If you want to be featured in our video releases, send us your clips by emailing them to hnnewsroom242@gmail.com or use Google Drive for larger files. Be sure to include your name and any details you'd like us to know. We can't wait to showcase your contributions. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.